What's up guys, so it's Max here and today I'm going to be giving you a completely different style of video for my channel, but if you guys do like these videos, please let me know, I'll make more like them. So today I'm going to try explain to you guys how to buy either a new guitar or your first guitar. This video is pretty much catered to everyone. You could be a beginner, you could be intermediate, advanced, whatever it is. I think these key points could be shared along all type of levels of guitarists. Today I'm at Stanford Music Store in Tallinn, Estonia, which is a super cool guitar store, which we're going to play a few clips of the shop so you can see it for yourself. Maybe if you're ever in the area, you can come look at the guitars yourself. Guys are super nice here as well. We're inside of this super cool, quiet room for you to play the guitars, multiple different guitars to try out, multiple different amps. Obviously, the store has many, many more. So yeah, I'm going to go straight into it. I've broken down the points of how to buy a new guitar, your first guitar, into 3 simple steps. I myself, as a guitarist, I'm quite simple. I'm not crazy about pedals, I'm not crazy about the perfect amp, the perfect this, perfect that. In fact, my guitar has just a single pickup, exactly like this one, so I'm going to speak about this guitar right here. Yeah, and I'll get into it. So let's go over the 3 main points of how to buy a guitar. Okay, so we're about to go into the first step of what you should look for when you're buying a guitar. Now, the first step I'm going to go over is comfort. Comfort is something you're going to build up over time as a guitarist. If you're buying your first guitar, pretty much every guitar might feel uncomfortable for you. Now, me personally, I've become accustomed to the Les Paul shape, which is this guitar right here, or this style of guitar. So the first thing you're going to want to see in comfort is the body. The body should sit comfortably on your leg, should sit upright, not too heavy, not too light that it moves around. And for me, the Les Paul is just, I've gotten so used to it that this is the perfect shape for me. It just sits so comfortably. The second thing you're going to want to look for in comfort is the neck. So the neck is very important because it's where you're going to be playing the whole time. You know, that left hand, if you're right-handed, will be all over the neck the whole time. And me personally, I've gotten used to a nice thick neck because of the Les Pauls I've been playing. I like a nice thick neck to have a nice grip and handle over the guitar. The last thing I want to go over for comfort is frets. If this one for a beginner might not be so important because you're not used to playing guitar yet and you probably don't even know what frets are, maybe even at this point. But frets are just these silver metal lines going down right here to make it as simple as possible. And different guitars, they stick up differently on different guitars. They sit at different heights. So some guitars might find it more comfortable when they're lower and some guitars might find it more comfortable when they're higher. Again, this is something you might develop later as you start to play different guitars, as you start to get used to different shapes, and something, it's a taste you're going to develop over time. The second thing we're going to go over is probably the most important thing when buying a guitar. It's going to be pretty self-explanatory, but it's sound. Now, when you buy a guitar, you obviously probably have a sound that you're looking for. Me personally, it's rock, blues, metal. So I have 2 different types of guitars here. I have this Les Paul and this Strat here for you guys to look at. And I'm going to explain what's the difference. So the difference is, when it comes to sound, is this guitar has a P90 pickup, okay? And I'm gonna play a clip now of guitars with a humbucker pickup. Now, what these 2 pickups do, the humbucker pickup, what it does is it bucks the hum. So if you're playing songs with high gain, you're going to get a weird buzzing sound from your amp. And what the humbucker pickup is gonna do is take that buzzing sound away, and you're gonna be able to play high gain songs, basically just rock, metal, any of that good stuff without any feedback from the amp, which is super, super important. If you're looking to play that music, you need a humbucker. So that's exactly what I have in my guitar because I play rock and metal music. That's exactly the type of pickup I use. Now, what's the difference between the humbucker and this guitar right here? So this guitar here has single coils. As you can see, there are 3 single lines. The difference, which you can tell from the humbucker and the single coils, are that the humbucker is a double line stuck together, and these are called single coils because they're just single lines, okay? What the single coils do is they're actually made more for softer music, like, let's say, Valerie by Amy Winehouse, or some nice blues songs, or maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers. Obviously, you could probably even tell that just by the shapes of the guitar. You know, you probably have your favorite guitarists playing these shapes of guitar, and you can tell by the music what type of pickups they're using. So, in short, these pickups are more suited for soft R&B, pop, whereas the humbucker, which I played a clip of already, is more suited for the rock and metal and all that good stuff. So paired up with the pickups, you're also going to, of course, want to see what type of amp you are using. I personally made a huge mistake, which I want to tell you guys about when buying a new guitar. I went into a store, I fell in love with one guitar, it was an Epiphone Casino. It had two P90 pickups just like this one. And I played it in the store inside of a Fender Reverb, and it sounded absolutely amazing. I wanted it so bad. I called my dad. I got half the money which I needed, more like another 200 euro off my dad just to buy the guitar. I was so obsessed with it. The same day, the same second I stepped in the store, I went and bought it. And when I went home, I plugged it into my Black Star, which, like I explained before, is more of a high gain amp for rock. Whereas this guitar, the Epiphone Casino, was in a Fender Reverb, which is made for soft music. When I went home, I was absolutely devastated. It sounded absolutely horrible. And I think in 3 or 4 days, I sold it back to another store, which is something I will also get into later. Some mistakes you can avoid, what I've learned when buying a guitar. I'll teach you some pro tips at the end. The third and final step, which we're going to go into right now, is looks. If this is your first guitar which you are buying, looks is probably going to be the biggest reason why you buy said guitar. Now, what I mean by looks is that when your guitar sits in your room, I want it to speak to me. You know, when my guitar is sitting in my room, I want to be doing something else and look at my guitar and just say, wow, like that guitar looks so good. I want to pick it up and play it right now. So when you have a guitar that really looks good and really speaks to you, you're going to look at it and you're just going to want to pick it up and want to learn and want to play. So looks are super, super important. Also, if you have idols, you know, favorite guitarists such as Slash, you know, that Les Paul shape, you're gonna obviously lean towards more of a Les Paul shape. You know, if you're more of a fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers, like mentioned before, you're gonna lean towards more of that Stratocaster shape because it's what you love, you know. And obviously, looks is gonna be super, super important, you know. And if you're not a beginning guitarist, you know, and you're performing like the stage I'm at now, I look for guitars that really have like a wow factor so that when people see me on stage, I have that extra oomph, you know. It's not just my playing, it's also the look. And there's so many different shapes you can choose from. So there's something out there for everyone. You're definitely going to find a look you like. To sum it up, these 3 points, if you find a guitar that you like the shape of and it's comfortable on your body, you like the sound of paired up with a good amp, and it looks good to you, it's just like speaks to you as a guitar. When you have all these three things paired up together, you're golden. You can look to buy that guitar. So I'm going to explain quickly why, if I could buy any guitar in this shop, it would be this one. As for shape and comfort, it's perfect for me. I'm used to the Les Paul. It sits comfortably. The neck is nice and heavy. I like it in my hands. It has a nice big blocky fretboard, everything which I like for comfort. As for sound, it has that P90 pickup, which is a perfect mix of the soft rock and the hard rock blues, which for me is just exactly my style of music. And you can even crank up the volume and the gain on the amp for more rock metal sound. Now, the third one, the looks. Personally, this guitar is just complete gold. It's absolutely beautiful. My idol, one of my idols, is Jared James Nichols himself. This being his signature guitar really is the selling point for me. So it's all gold, it's a Les Paul, it feels comfortable, it sounds exactly how I want it. That is exactly why I would buy this guitar right here. And that's how you should go about buying your first, second, third, whatever guitar it is. These are the 3 points I think that are most important. So I myself have a Fender Strat, not exactly like this one, but in white. It's Mexican made, and it has the single coils, and that's exactly the reason why I bought it, because first of all, it looked amazing. I'm obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan too, so it's perfect for that. Looked amazing, has the single coils because me and my band sometimes were playing much softer songs, so I needed it for the sound. So that's the sound part. Looks-wise, looks like Stevie Ray Vaughan, beautiful Strat, that's the looks part. And then as for comfort, I've also just gotten so used to the fretboard of the Strat and the body too, and it just looks amazing. So that's all 3 points. Once again, another example of why I bought one of my guitars. I'll put up a photo of that guitar too. Now I want to go over some smaller points which we didn't touch up on, and maybe some pro tips. So the first thing I want to go over is price. Obviously, everyone is in a different situation in their life or a different stage of guitar playing, and I personally don't recommend you buy a $2,000, euro, whatever guitar for your first guitar. You know, you might pick it up, do 2 weeks, and then hate it. So price is super important. See where you are, what stage you're at in your guitar journey, play it safely. And something I want to go over with price is, if you can find a guitar, there's a pro tip. If you can find a guitar store that does buying, selling, and trading, you're going to be better off. That's what I do at my hometown in Malta. There's a shop called Play Vintage. That's where I shop. And they do buying, selling, and trading. So what this means is you can buy a guitar from them, you can sell your guitar to them, or you can trade it. So I've done multiple of all three of these. I've bought guitars from them, I've sold guitars back to them to get my money back, and I've also traded in a guitar. Let's say my guitar was 600 euro. I traded in, I want a 1,000 euro guitar, and I only had to pay 400 because I traded in my first guitar. Something I'm not going to go too into detail about is amps, but as I mentioned before, amps are super important paired up with the guitar, because like I explained my mistake when buying a guitar, I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. So if you guys want me to make a completely separate video explaining amps, just go ahead and leave a comment and I will do so. Now the last thing I want to touch up on just briefly, which I can also make a video for, is pedals. Me personally, I don't really use too many pedals. As I mentioned, I'm quite a simple guitarist. 2 knobs, volume, tone, pickup, that's it. So basically the guitar just goes on and off, and that's it. That's perfect for me. I have a wah, I have a reverb, I have a tuning pedal, and that's pretty much it. Those 3 pedals get me by for all my gigs. So yeah, I could make a separate video on that for you guys. But as for pedals, you can get so many cool different sounds from pedals. I don't discriminate to people who use many pedals. It sounds amazing when they're paired up correctly. I personally just don't. But yeah, pedals are a completely different world of sound. You can get the most crazy sounds out of pedals. So that's something to take into account too when buying a guitar. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for the 3 main points when buying a guitar. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, pro, I think these 3 points pretty much count for everyone. You know, I was explaining to you how to buy a guitar as a beginner, but I also explained with the exact same 3 points how I would buy this guitar 5 years into playing guitar. You know, I consider myself above intermediate, and I still use those exact 3 points for buying a guitar today. So like I mentioned before, if you guys want me to make separate videos on amps, pedals, maybe going into more details about pickups, whatever it is, just please leave a comment and I'll be sure to make those videos too. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.